Hello everyone, this is Shannon from That's So Poe, and today I'm doing week 36 of my 2023 reads. This week I read a middle grade and I read a romance novel, which ends up completing all of the romance novels by one of my favorite authors in their back catalog, so that made me very pleased. Timestamps and content warnings are in the description box below. First, I finished Keep Dancing, Lizzie Chu by Maisie Chan. This is a contemporary middle grade about Lizzie, who is dealing with some difficult times. She's been raised by her grandparents, but her grandmother passed away in the past year, and she and her grandfather are really struggling to get by, especially because her grandfather is quite grieving over the loss of his wife and seems to be kind of forgetful. So Lizzie is trying her best, to do the cooking and to handle all the bills and to do all the things, but it's really challenging. And when she gets the chance to take her grandfather to the Blackpool Tower ballroom where he and her grandmother had met dancing, they all love Strictly Come Dancing, she thinks that this will sort of reinvigorate him and connect him back to the real world and life. So she goes on quite a few adventures doing this, along with some of her best friends who are really supportive in this effort. This has a lot of heart to it. It has a lot of hijinks. They get up to some very silly antics. Their journey to Blackpool sort of mirrors in a lot of ways the journey to the West, this kind of classic Chinese tale with the Monkey King and everything like that. And they go through quite a few trials and tribulations. It's a little silly at times and a little overboard in the way that some of these things happen. Plus, as an adult reading this, I'm just cringing sometimes at the choices that they're making. Like, what are you doing? You shouldn't do that. That's not a good idea. But it's all about them trying to go to Blackpool and have this adventure for her grandfather. There is sort of some bittersweet undertones to this, though, because Lizzie is this carer, and throughout the course of the novel, she's trying to really come to grips with what's going on with her grandfather. And so the ending I did find also just a little bit melancholy, even if still having some really good things to say to kids about, how to ask for help and things like that. So overall, I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think it has a lot of heart, but it was just a little tough for me to read at times. Next, I read He's Not My Boyfriend by Jackie Lau, which I believe catches me up with all of Jackie Lau's back catalog, which was just sort of something that I had wanted to do. Jackie Lau is just one of my favorite contemporary romance authors that is writing right now. She has such great stories, and I just very much want to read everything that she's ever put out, and now I have. So I was just very pleased to get to this one. So this is a story about a heroine who basically, doesn't want to get married. Her mom and her grandmother both have had marriages that seem very unfulfilling and kind of hold them back to her, and she wants to have one night stands and have fun and just live her life and do her own thing. And she ends up having a one night stand with a guy, but then they end up having to work together because he is like a construction manager type person at a site where she is the engineer who has to come in and help with things. And so they get thrown together again, and really, they have to kind of navigate the whole, we had a one night stand, but now we're working together. I think that in this, the best parts were just definitely the family interactions. I think Jackie Lau does an amazing job when it comes to family issues and family interactions. And in this, the hero is dealing with the loss of his mother about a year prior, and the very strained relationship that he has with his dad now. And the heroine is dealing with just a lot of those issues of not wanting commitment, but also just her relationship with her mom and her grandmother, especially because they want her to get married and they keep trying to set her up with people. And there's just a lot of very silly interactions that happen because of that. The grandmother in this is hilarious. She's so funny, and I really, really, really like her. There are some parts of this story that didn't work out so well for me. I think number one is just workplace romance. I struggle with that. I find it just really kind of gets under my skin because it's so like not what you should be doing in the workplace. And totally understanding these characters and their journey and trying to figure out what they want to do. But just workplace romance for me is it's just a no. So that part was a little bit of a struggle for me. And then there's also a pretty intense third act breakup in this one that I just was not behind, and so that took me out of the story a bit. But I did like the relationship between the main characters, and I really liked a lot of the family dynamics and a lot of the conversations, like the really true open conversations that they had to have with their parents and grandparents, and how that kind of moved their personal growth forward. So I liked those parts quite a bit. Overall, I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. Okay, so that is everything that I read this week. If you guys have read any of these, or if you want to read them, if you want to chat with me about them, or if you've read anything good this week, I would love to hear from you. Just leave me a comment down below.